You know that moment you realize you're autistic? When every weird memory, every "why am I like this?" suddenly lines up like dominoes. And you're just sitting there going, oh, that explains everything. But here's the part no one talks about. What actually happens after that moment? Because it's not just relief. It's confusion, identity crisis, and eventually, freedom. Freedom! Your brain doesn't calm down. It taps into your entire life history all at once and freaks out. You start replaying every conversation you've ever had. Like, was that autism? What about that? Do I tell people? If you're in that weird kind of limbo state where you finally understand yourself, but you also have no idea how to live differently yet, then stay with me. We're going to talk about what really happens next and how to move forward without burning yourself out. Rumination cycles. After that realization, hey, I'm autistic and have been this whole time. Then it's like your brain schedules a full-day flashback marathon. You're suddenly the main character in some Netflix special or CSI episode, or Braveheart. Freedom! And now every weird habit, every meltdown, every broken relationship or time I was called out in school, now it's on replay in my brain with subtitles and some pretty bad acting. The rumination cycles are real and they're exhausting. If you're going through this, it kind of sucks because it feels super overwhelming and intense. But there is some good news. You're not alone. Why does knowing other people's brains are freaking out make me feel so much better? Now you're replaying past trauma, realizing so many things were actually because you didn't just feel different. You had a different neurology all along. You were a square peg trying to get hammered into a cardboard box. Sure, you made it through, but did it feel right? Square peg in a cardboard box? And the best part? Your brain does this for hours. It's like Netflix autoplay for trauma, stuck on your 4-year-old niece's favorite show with no skip intro button. And possibly some baby shark thrown in for good measure. So those cycles of relearning yourself and replaying all that's happened because no one understood your brain, that's what leads to the next point. The two feelings that hit at once, relief and grief. You'd think that realizing you're autistic would feel pretty good, right? Finally, you have answers. But no, there's a combination of feelings. Yes, there will probably be some relief. Now you're not the only one who's going through these challenges. And knowing you're not alone, that's a huge relief for many of us. But this part isn't actually totally resolved. I don't want to get too sidetracked, so I'll talk more about this later when we talk about loneliness. So yes, there's relief, because now you know you're not broken. But there's another strong feeling, grief. And this intertwines with the relief. And why grief? Because for most of us who figured out we're autistic as adults, there's a lot of lost years, trying to fix something that wasn't broken. Lost friendships, trauma, especially when you were a kid, challenges from situations of being misunderstood that could have been so different if only you knew. Lost years that you'll never get back. And that's not only time, it's the time when you could have been doing things in a totally different way to accommodate your brain. It's the co-occurring medical mental health conditions, like the huge number of autistic people who also have anxiety or depression, and then treating symptoms for those issues without realizing that unidentified autism might be one of the underlying issues. I mean, nothing will make you more anxious than being in a constant state of overwhelm, but feeling like you need to hide that to the world because you thought you were the only one. And that goes back to the tricky feeling combination that's swirling, the relief and grief. The good news is you start to realize, I'm not broken, I'm autistic. Then the relief comes as you realize that now you can change your approach. We'll talk more about that later, but if you're in that stage right now, trying to figure out what comes next, we made a free guide to help you called the Autistic Roadmap. It's the first 5 steps that help me stop guessing and start rebuilding life in a way that actually fits. Grab it in the link below after this video. It'll make everything we're talking about today connect faster. Midlife identity crisis, the identity hangover. So you're getting through the grief relief combo, and then comes the midlife identity crisis. It's not technically a midlife crisis. I mean, how would you know when that actually is? You start realizing, so I've been hiding who I really am this whole time. Wait a second. Who am I? So you try to be authentic. Everyone says,
just be yourself.
But what if yourself told yourself not to be yourself until now? A lot of late identified autistic adults and autistic ADHDers have spent decades learning how to fly under the radar, undetected even to ourselves. So now it's like that superhero cape has been stripped off and we don't even know who we're seeing. So be yourself, you start to realize you have no idea what that means. That's a little scary. Do I twirl my hair to calm myself down? Or because I actually want to pace, but people told me to stop doing that? Do I actually like talking about books? Or did I just do that to fit in? Do I even like sharks? Yes, I absolutely do. But this unmasking journey isn't simple. That's why it's kind of like rediscovering yourself suddenly. So not long after I learned I was autistic, I told myself, okay, from now on, full honesty. I went into work and a colleague asked how I was doing. My response? That I totally prepped for because small talk makes my butt cramp. Exhausted and mentally unstable, but I remembered to hydrate. Yeah, that one got me a weird look. And an email from HR to schedule a meeting later. So it turns out unmasking isn't a one conversation event or something you can just drop right after your autism diagnosis. It's more like peeling duct tape off your personality. Slow, painful, and full of internal screaming. The loneliness nobody mentions. Here's the silent part nobody warns you about. You're going to feel lonely. Not because you dislike people or because you're separating yourself necessarily, but because you feel empty. It's hard for other people to relate who haven't gone through this experience. You might not even want to talk about it much, but it's nice knowing there's someone who gets it. But if you're someone who realized you're autistic as an adult, chances are you might not even know anyone else in the same boat. So it feels like an experience only you get to have. Okay, before we start, any late diagnosed autistic adults here experiencing an identity crisis because of over 3 decades of masking? Yeah? Anyone? Okay, getting some weird looks. I'm gonna go with no. Mosey on over to my office and ball at my desk for 45 minutes. Chat later. So if you talk about it, get ready to have some blank stares and assumptions that need to be corrected. Your friends probably mean well. They might say stuff like,
You're still you.
Or,
yeah, just be yourself.
While also saying,
but you always love that place.
Or,
but we do that together every year for the holidays.
And you're thinking,
yeah, so we do that every year and you love it.
Because you might have been doing those sneaky self-preservation tactics for a while. Just you and everyone else had no idea it was related to your autism. Explaining that takes time and lots of energy. So it might feel better to just not. And that leads to some loneliness, feeling isolated, possibly pulling back for a while. But hey, that's okay. You can take your time. You need space to rebuild, which brings me to one thing that saved me: structure. Reassessing everything in real time. Now, as you're reevaluating your entire life, it gets a little sticky, a little bit spicy, because your brain keeps overanalyzing everything. Remember that ruminating? It isn't always about bad things, but it's about the things. Every behavior gets filtered through an overanalyzing panel of judges that lives inside your brain. Because once you realize your brain works differently than you always thought, you're second guessing a lot. I once spent an entire haircut deciding if I should tell my barber I'm autistic, as if that was somehow relevant to a haircut. And I'm here sitting in front of the mirror while he's trying to talk to me about my hair, but also life. He was one of those real philosophical kind of barbers. Probably solves questions of existence for most guys. But for me, I was struggling to even hear his questions. So I was trying to think of the best way to act. Do I tell him? Do I not? Wait, what did you just ask? Oh, yes. I do want it to look like it did before. Yes, I've had the same haircut for years. Huh? No, I don't need more water. Wait, I think you just asked me about what's new in my life. Well, I'm autistic. That's new. Wait, that's too blunt. Do I know him well enough to say that? Does he even need to know? Oh, great. Someone else is using a hairdryer. Ugh. His mouth is moving, but I'm lost. How the heck are all of these people talking with that noise? How is that even possible? Oh my gosh, there is no way I can chit chat with all this background noise punching me in the face. What is going on in my brain? Where were we? 25 minutes later, my haircut was done, but I hadn't noticed anything because my brain was still stuck. That moment hit and I knew this isn't logic anymore. This is some kind of up-leveling. Like, I'm a character on a mystic quest of rediscovery.
I'm going on an adventure!
Rethinking stuff can sometimes be a little funny, very draining, frustrating sometimes, but also funny. It's a constant internal monologue, just me and my brain. Do I walk weird? Wait, how am I supposed to walk? This feels a little bit stiff. It's better, but someone told me I walk weird. Is this the real way I walk? Oh, God, I feel like moving. Ah. Ooh, a little head movement. That feels nice. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's what I need right there. Wait a minute. Am I stimming? Did we make eye contact or accidentally assert dominance? I should just look down. Wait, do other people think that means I'm lying? I'm not. Actually, I didn't even say anything. I'm just listening. Okay, smile and nod. Wait, I don't actually feel like smiling. And nodding? Why am I nodding like a bobblehead? So it's exhausting, but kind of hilarious too. This could be the first time you're actually observing yourself with less judgment, rather than ridiculing yourself for doing things wrong. And that's big progress towards self-acceptance. Just takes a little practice. The hope part, community. So yeah, the moment you realize you're autistic might just blow your mind. It's like the solution to a riddle that's been stuck in your head for decades, and no one will give you the answer. Or one of those Sudoku things. Oh my gosh, I'm horrible at those. But it's also the moment you finally get to rebuild it on your own terms. And if you need help figuring out those terms, that's exactly what we do inside the Auticate membership. Real learning in small, bite-sized chunks to make sense of your brain every single day. That roadmap becomes real life with other people who actually get it. Because many of us have been right where you are too. So don't forget to grab that download. Links below. And remember, you just realized you're autistic, not broken. It's time to figure out the next chapter, and you're in the perfect spot for it. We've got what to do next when we're back for our next video. So hit the subscribe button and join our email list for more to help you support your unique brain.
You want to stare at me? You want to stare in competition?